You were looking at footage of a school in Bangladesh, and I want to talk about the school and the people behind this, because it's an incredibly, you want to talk about a grassroots effort. This is what it is. This is the Monroe family, and I'm almost a little overwhelmed telling our viewers all that you and your family, the kids as well, Grace and Alistair, and you have two more who aren't with us today. So first of all, let's start with how you as a family ended up in Bangladesh, and tell our viewers a little bit about Bangladesh.
Sure. We were hired originally by an international European charitable organization to bring improvements to Bangladesh, to the school system there. And Bangladesh, of course, is a country that's densely populated and very poor, situated in the world's largest delta. It has 150 million people in landmass about the size 1/6 of Manitoba. So, however, very soon after getting there, we noticed that there was a much more serious and potentially dangerous problem, and that is that there are millions of children there too poor for school. And in the world, actually, over 70 million children are in that situation.
And education, I mean, is so empowering, and just the ripple effects of being literate and having that education, the impact is huge. But what you're doing as well is you are teaching people to teach.
That's it. Yeah.
Explain how that works.
Sure. We wanted to come up with a way to work in multiples because there's so many people. And so what we did is we looked at the slums to see what can we see there that's being underutilized, and it's the mothers. So the mothers of these children, what we do is we teach them to teach their own and their neighbors' children, turning them into or helping them to become neighborhood teachers. And it really works.
What kind of effects do you see from that?
The mothers themselves, well, actually, the children are really being taught in large numbers now through the schools, so it's very effective. And the mothers themselves, although our primary target is the children, the secondary benefits are amazing. The mothers actually, for the first time, they tell us that their lives are starting to make sense. They're making better decisions. They really feel for the first time that they have a sense of purpose and a sense of direction and momentum in their lives, aiming toward something. They have optimism for the future.
What a simple thing learning to read can do for someone. And Grace, you're 17, and I have met so many amazing teenagers. I'm so lucky to work at Shaw. And what has the experience been like for you? I'm sure a lot of the kids watching right now are really curious to know what it's been like for you living there with your family and helping out.
Well, it's one thing knowing a lot about the world around oneself. I mean, I wasn't really completely in a bubble before I moved there, but actually seeing it and experiencing that is much more eye-opening, really.
What would you say to people who have never been there, who maybe this is even the first time they're really even thinking about it? And I mean, it's so important. Part of the reason you end up coming back to Canada is to raise awareness and to raise funds and to raise awareness for, and again, especially as you say, the kids are so important. For kids watching right now, what would you say is the most important thing they can take away from this?
Well, of course, one thing that some people might already know is just that people are people everywhere, which is one thing that we saw, and it wasn't very surprising, but it's just that's
a good thing to be reminded of all the time. And the people that you meet, this, as I said, this is a complete family affair. And Jem, you've put together a book of stories. And by stories, I mean you're telling people's stories. These are real people that you've connected with in this book. And these people mean a lot to you, and sharing their stories mean a lot to you. What are the kind of things that people will be able to read in this book?
The book deals with how it was that we came to have contact with these people, how we became engaged with these people. They're generally regarded as being unreachable, particularly Muslim women of the lowest economic level are regarded as being unreachable, and these neighborhoods these desperately poor neighborhoods are generally regarded as being inaccessible. So I recount in these stories how it was that we came to be in contact and working with these people, and it's a story in and of itself. It couldn't happen without something interesting happening. You can't just waltz in, not if you want to just waltz out again, but otherwise the stories really focus on these people, their stories, how they relate to us, how they interact with us. They had misconceptions about us more than we had misconceptions about them when we first encountered them. For instance, they were very surprised to find that our family loves each other.
They assume that the Westerns have no family ties.
That's
way.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. I've often wondered how that impression could be created, but it's very widespread. So they were very surprised to find out that ours is a very close-knit, very affectionate family, and otherwise it's the main city in which we operate, Dhaka, is a most peculiar, even bizarre city through various stresses and conditions that are written about in the book. So it's an observation of that, but much more of the people whom we've encountered.
Well, I think, Grace, you put it perfectly when you said that what I hope people get out of here is that people are people. And this isn't just a charity that you are patronizingly going in. You are really working at the grassroots with your kids, with the families in Bangladesh. And
we're somewhere below the grassroots.
Exactly.
we're subterranean.
And so to connect with the people like you've done and to be able to share their stories in this book and to share the stories across Canada as you try and raise awareness, we've got information on the screen where people can check out your website and learn more about what you do. But again, thank you so much for sharing what you do and for doing it, because so many people think it's important, but we're always willing to let other people do it. So thank you.
Thanks for drawing attention to it. We appreciate it, Joanne. That's very nice.